Welcome to the General Administration of Traffic and the Licenses Affairs Department. Holotech Group also welcomes you to the self-service program of the Unified Theoretical and Electronic Training. Traffic signs. While driving on the road, the driver notices the presence of a large number of different shapes and colors of road signs, which are installed on poles on the sides of the streets and intersections. Traffic signs are placed in order to inform drivers of an important information that facilitates his use of the road on which he is driving, and to avoid the occurrence of an accident that may endanger his life and the lives of others. Let's start learning driving in the right way to reach a combination of both safe and professional driving on our country's roads. Let the tour begin. Speed limit rules. First section. Speed traffic signs. Maximum speed limit sign. It is a circular sign with white background and a red frame. Determined inside it the allowed speed, and it is prohibited to increase the speed more than the speed determined in the traffic sign. End of maximum speed limit sign. It is a circular sign with white background. Determined inside it the speed in black color. Indicates end of speed limit and characterized by inclined black lines. Minimum speed limit sign. It is a circular sign with blue background. Determined inside it the speed in white color, and it indicates that the speed must not be less than the determined speed. End of minimum speed limit sign. It is a circular sign with blue background. Determined inside it the speed in white color, indicates the end of the minimum speed limit and characterized by inclined red line. Two. Speed road surface marking. Speed road surface marks. They are labels or paints placed on road surface in the middle of lanes to indicate maximum speed limit and hold the same meaning of speed limit traffic signs. Speed slow marks. They are transverse successive land lines in yellow color placed before intersections on the roads and curves, aiming to slow the speed. Second section. Commitment of the driver with speed rules. A. It is prohibited to exceed the maximum speed limits of motor vehicles on the road. B. Reduce the vehicle speed when approaching from pedestrians crossings, schools and hospitals, bridges and tunnels, turns, curves and slopes, populated areas, crossroads, intersections, roundabouts, and when entering squares. C. Control the vehicle and adapt its speed according to the road condition and the situation, vehicle condition and the load, and weather conditions, so that it can be stopped or reduce its speed if necessary. D. Do not drive the vehicle in unusual slow speed in a way that doesn't suit the road situation, the vehicle condition and its load, and weather conditions that may lead to obstruction of the normal motion of other vehicles if it is not a reasonable cause. E. Do not use brakes suddenly in order to reduce the vehicle's speed or stop it, if not necessary for safety of motion on the road. F. Alert clearly by sufficient time when starting reducing the speed. Third section. Speed limits on roads. It must be committed with maximum speed limit indicated in the signs and marks placed on the road, and if not existing, maximum speed limit will be determined for vehicles as A. Internal roads. Maximum speed limit for passengers, cars, taxis, rent cars, tourist cars, and motorcycles on internal roads in cities, villages, and populated areas is 100 km per hour. Maximum speed limit for other motor vehicles on internal roads in cities, villages, and populated areas is 50 km per hour. B. External roads. The maximum speed limit for passengers cars, taxis, rent cars, tourist cars, motorcycles on external roads is 120 km per hour. The maximum speed limit for other motor vehicles on external roads is 80 km per hour. Fourth section. Speed violations on roads. A. The law punishes exceeding the speed limit by a fine of 500 Qatari riyals, and an amount of 100 Qatari riyals will be added against every 10 km per hour of speed increase and not exceeding 1,000 Qatari riyals. B. The law punishes the failure to reduce the speed when approaching the following places by a fine of 300 Qatari riyals: pedestrians crossings, bridges and tunnels, populated areas, schools and hospitals, turns, curves, and slopes, crossroads, roundabouts, and when entering squares. C. The law punishes by a fine of 300 Qatari riyal everyone who does not commit with the following: failure to control the vehicle and adapt its speed according to road conditions and situations, vehicle condition and load and weather conditions. Keep driving the vehicle in unusual slow speed in a way that does not suit the road situation, the vehicle condition and its load, and the weather conditions that may lead to obstruction of traffic motion. Using brakes suddenly in order to reduce vehicle speed or stop it without reason. Failure to alert clearly by sufficient time when starting to reduce the speed. D. The law punishes by imprisonment for a period not less than 1 month and not more than 3 years, and a fine of 10 to 50,000 Qatari riyals or one of the two punishments, and to add 4 points to the balance of everyone who commits the violation of driving a vehicle on the road carelessly, unwarned, or in a way that subjects person's life and monies to risk, involved in a race on the road without written permit or violation of the permit, drove the vehicle carelessly or negligently, which subjects its driver, passengers, or others to risk. Fifth section. Zero speed. It is the exceeding of speed limit more than 180 km per hour. Turning and U-turning. First section. Definition. Turning. It is the change of the vehicle direction to the right or to the left to pass in another road or if there are turns on the road. U-turning. It is the reverse of the vehicle direction to the opposite direction of the road. Road signs and marking. 1. Turning and U-turning signs. No turning and U-turning signs. They are circular signs with red frame and diagonal and white background. Inside it there is an arrow that indicates to the prohibited direction. Turning and U-turning mandatory signs. They are circular signs with blue background, inside it a white arrow that indicates to a mandatory or compulsory direction. Mandatory direction sign. It is a rectangular sign with a white background, inside it a blue arrow of the mandatory or compulsory direction. U-turn directional sign. It is a rectangular sign with blue background. Inside it, a white arrow indicates to the allowed place of U-turning. Road turns warning signs. They are equilateral triangle signs with a red frame and white background, contains black arrows that indicate to the direction of turning on the road. Turn warning sign. It is a rectangular sign with a white background. Inside there are arrows in red that indicate to the road turn direction. It is used in the areas of hidden turn and visible turn. 2. Turning and U-turning lane markings. They are marks engraved on the road surface in the shape of arrows indicating to the mandatory direction of each lane to show lanes of turning or U-turning. 3. Turning and U-turning traffic light. It is a traffic light. Inside it, an arrow indicates to the mandatory direction of turning in case of green light. Third section. Procedures of turning and U-turning. 1. Turning on the road. A. Turning conditions. It is prohibited to turn left in highways if there are no places allocated for this. Turning should not constitute risk to the driver or road users. If there is no hand signal from traffic policemen or a sign prohibits turning. Commit with arrow directions engraved on the road surface or traffic lights. Turn at the places without traffic signs that prohibit passing in the required direction. Turn from the correct lane. B. Turning reasons. Meeting of the road with another road in a T-shape. There are obstacles on the road. There are turns on the road. There is a signal from traffic policemen or a sign mandates vehicles to turn left or right. C. Turning steps. Take the decision before arriving to the intersection and watch the signs. Watch traffic motion using mirrors by looking back and start by using direction lights for alerting. Select the correct lane and pay attention to traffic motion, pedestrians, and other subsidiary or potential risks at or nearby the intersection. Reduce speed gradually or stop according to traffic lights, traffic signs, or guidance signals. It is prohibited to turn at an acute angle or an increased wide angle than necessary, swaying or moving between lanes after turning. Leaving through turning and complete it on the correct lane when traffic motion allows this. Two. Turns on the road. A. Turning mechanism. Forces affecting turning on the road. When turning with your vehicle while driving, your vehicle loses somewhat of its balance as a result of direction change forces, or so-called centrifugal force, which needs opposite force in order to fix the vehicle at turns. This force has the magnitude of the cohesion of wheels with road surface friction force. Therefore, to reduce the centrifugal force, you have to reduce your speed at turns to increase cohesion force of wheels with road surface as more as you accelerate as acute as the turn, which causes loss of control on the vehicle inside the turn and leads to its overturn. B. Safe turning conditions. Put your vehicle in the proper position of the road when approaching from the turn. Use a speed suitable to the angle of acuteness of the turn. Shift transmission to the position suitable to this speed to continue on moving. You must be able to stop at the side of the road within the distance that you can see clearly. U-turning on the road. A. U-turning conditions. The road is not a one-way road. If there is no hand signal from traffic policemen or a sign that prohibits U-turning. There is no heavy traffic. U-turning area must be visible for drivers in all directions. There is no continuous line or pedestrians crossing at the place of U-turning. U-turning does not constitute a risk for the driver or road users. It is prohibited to U-turn back in highways if there are no places allocated for this purpose. It is prohibited to U-turn at the places of U-turn allocated to ambulance, police, and civil defense cars. B. U-turning reasons. Road closing for any reason, such as traffic diversions, damage on the road, traffic accident, an obstacle. There is a signal from the traffic policeman or a sign that mandates vehicles to U-turn. C. U-turning steps. U-turning in wide roads is performed directly in one U-turn stage. U-turning in a narrow road is performed in 3 or 5 stages depending on road width and vehicle length. Communication language between road users. First section. Definition of communication language between road users. It is the language used between road users, between each other, which is understandable to all different languages and cultures, and it is the link of exchange information between them. Second section. Forms of communication language between road users. 1. Traffic signals for vehicles. Lights. A. Direction change lights. It is used to inform road users to be ready to turn or change lanes, which requires to look at vehicle mirrors to ensure safe transfer, and the most important things to do, use vehicle lights by a sufficient period to warn other drivers and pedestrians of your intention to change your direction. If you intend to turn right at an intersection and you come across another intersection that precedes the intersection that you intend to turn to, do not use direction right signal except after passing the first intersection. This will prevent any confusion for other drivers about where and when you actually will turn, and this requires you to use the signal by a sufficient period to warn drivers behind and in front of you that you intend to turn or change the lane. B. Speed reduction lights. It is used when using brake pedal to reduce the speed, where the lights appear directly to the rear vehicles to inform them that you are reducing the speed. If it is combined with the right direction light, it will be for informing them to stop, and if it is at approaching from an intersection, it will be for informing them of the turning. Each time you press on the brake pedal, your vehicle brake lights will turn on to alert other road users that you are reducing the speed of your vehicle or you're stopping. Therefore, you have to reduce your speed if the brake lights of the front vehicle are on. C. Front and rear lights. Using the front and the rear lights helps other road users to see you in the bad lighting conditions. Front and rear lights of your vehicle must be switched on between sunset and sunrise. And in risky weather conditions such as fog, rain, smoke, and sandstorms, and when it is hard for other drivers to see. D. Warning signal for lights flashers. They are the 4 direction lights used in cases of warning of a risk on the road. Cases of using warning lights in the vehicle. Vehicle fault on the road. involving in an accident or emergency stopping, and there is no ability to exit it from the road. When moving on highways and found suddenly in front of you a traffic accident or any risk on the road, and you want to inform vehicles behind you of this risk to be warned of it. E. Overtaking signal. There are two overtaking signals given from the vehicle required to be overtaking to the vehicle that wants to overtake in case of invisibility of the vehicle that wants to overtake. Left signal, which means to wait a little, where overtaking at this moment is unsafe and must wait until the situation becomes safe to complete the process of overtaking. Right signal, which means it is allowed to overtake. F. Headlights and flashing warning lights. It is used by the rear vehicle to inform the front vehicle to give way to overtake. It is used also to alert the opposite vehicle of a risk on the road ahead. Two. Warning signals of special use. A. Military vehicles. Red and blue warning lights are used in police, internal security force, civil defense vehicles, and official ceremonies and processions. When vehicles use these lights, that means the vehicle is moving at a high speed and must give it way. B. Medical vehicles. Green warning lights are often used in ambulance vehicles and those used in medical purposes, patients transport. When vehicles use these lights, that means the vehicle is moving in an emergency mission at a high speed and must give it way. C. Service vehicles. Orange warning lights are used in these vehicles. When vehicles use these lights, that means the vehicle is moving at a slow speed and you can overtake it carefully. Such as street cleaning and waste collection vehicles. Vehicles equipped to tow faulty vehicles. Vehicles moving at low speeds or its width is more than 30 meters. Rescue and control vehicles. Big shipment cars, tractor, trailer and semi-trailer. PWA vehicles. D. Vehicles operating in special areas. Yellow warning lights are used in these vehicles inside areas allocated to work in during its operation. It is prohibited to be used while moving on the public road, such as vehicles operating inside the airport and ports. Third section. Vehicle sound signals. A. Normal sound signal. This normal sound signal is used to warn others, either another vehicle or road user, of a risk to avoid its occurrence before it's too late. The horn is a type of warning device. It is an important part of communication, but it must be used reasonably and when necessary only to alert other road users of approaching of your vehicle or its position. There are signs to inform you not to use the horn in some areas. Near hospitals, schools, worship places, or residential areas. B. High sound signal. High sound signal is used to inform others, either another vehicle or road user, of a message informing that there is a vehicle that needs to give its way because it's in an urgent mission. This sound signal is used in the following vehicles: ambulance, internal security force, patients transport, police, civil defense, official ceremonies and processions. Rules of using horns and lights on the road. It is prohibited to drive a vehicle on the road unequipped with a horn to warn of the risk of its approaching. Vehicle drivers are prohibited to use the horn except in case of imminent risk. It is prohibited to use the front and rear glare lights except in weather conditions that require it. It is prohibited to use any means of hiding vehicles' windows without a written permit. It is prohibited to drive a vehicle on the road within the period from sunset to sunrise or in bad vision because of weather conditions during day hours, except by using the following lights. Headlights. The two rear lights. The rear number plate light. It is prohibited to switch on the glare light in case of stopping. Switch the glare light to headlights or position lights when meeting another vehicle at a reasonable distance to avoid sight glaring. No red light is prohibited to appear in the nose of the vehicle. It is sufficed with a white light in normal cases or yellow one in fog conditions. Driver of any vehicle stopping on a road unequipped with public lighting overnight or in daytime in bad vision has to remove it from carriageway and keep red light or reflector at its rear to warn road users of its existence. Vehicle driver has to adjust the glare light to be directed little to the right side of the road. First aid. First aid. It is the instant care of injured or patient at the arrival of medical assistance which contributes in preventing the deterioration of injured health condition. How to help an injured? Make sure that the place is clear of any risk on your life or injured life. Examine injured and check his degree of consciousness. Call ambulance 999. Aid the injured until the arrival of medical assistance. Cases that first aid helps in rescuing the injured. 1. Loss of consciousness. How to aid unconscious injured? Follow ABC steps. A. Airway. Open the airway raising the chin and tilting head to back. In case of suspicion of injury of head or neck, push mandible forward without head tilt. Inspect for the foreign object, reason of suffocation. B. Breathing. 1. Look to his chest to verify its raising. 2. Listen to his breaths. 3. Feeling of air coming out from the injured mouth at your cheek for 10 seconds before deciding the loss of breathing. 4. If there is breathing, put the injured in the recovery position and examine him from time to time, and then start chest compression in case of absence of breathing. C. Circulation. Make sure of stopping external severe bleeding, fulminant bleeding, to be the circulation closed, and cardiopulmonary resuscitation (CPR) is useful. How to perform CPR? To make sure that there are no signs of response from the patient. 1. Make sure that the place is safe for you and the injured. 2. Make sure to lay the injured on his back on a solid and even surface. 3. Sit on your knees beside the injured and call him with a high voice to know whether he has response. 4. Cry, calling assistance, contact 999. 5. Opening the airway with the head tilt, chin lift maneuver. 6. Check if breathing is stopped for a period not exceeding 10 seconds. Looking, listening, and feeling. 7. Perform 30 compressions. Put your palm on the middle of the injured chest between the two nipples. Put the other palm on the first palm. Compress directly, quickly and strongly on the chest with a rate of 4 to 5 centimeters with each compression. Compress 100 compressions per minute approximately. After each compression, reduce pressure on the chest to allow it to return to normal position. 8. Give 2 breaths. Put your mouth on the injured mouth exactly and close both openings of the nose by your hand. Observe chest raising after each breath. 9. Repeat the process, 30 compressions and 2 breaths, until arrival of medical assistance. Injured gives signs of survival, reaching to a severe case of fatigue that prevents you from continuing and rescue. 1. Bleeding. How to stop bleeding? Direct compression on the place of bleeding. Do not touch blood directly. How to aid the injured in case of shock? Often, bleeding injured is subjected to a shock, which is the decrease of the amount of blood reaching to the brain. Shock symptoms are pallor in skin color, cold sweats, pulse acceleration and weakness, low blood pressure. To aid this injured, raise the 2 feet to push blood to the heart and brain. Nosebleed. Compress firmly on both sides of the nose of the injured for a few minutes, while sitting and inclined to the front and breathing through the mouth. 3. Burns. Cool burn immediately with cold water and not chilled water. Cover burn with a bandage or a dry non-stick sterilized piece of cloth. Move the injured to the hospital. 4. Eye injuries with chemical materials. Eye must be washed using plenty of water as quick as possible, making sure that the injured eye is direct down when washing to avoid transfer of the material to the uninjured eye during washing process. 5. Fractures and sprains. Do not move the injured organ. Fix the injured organ using splint without trying to return it to its normal position. For sprains, follow the following steps. Relaxation. Relax the injured person and prevent him from using the injured part. Ice. Put a bag of ice on the injured place to reduce the swelling and pain. Bandage. Wrap the injured organ with a bandage for 15 to 30 minutes to reduce the swelling. Raising. Raise the injured organ up at 45 degrees. Wrong behaviors on the road. 1. Spitting on the road. Some drivers spit from inside the vehicle during the drive, especially in busy streets or when stopping at traffic lights and public places. This is a wrong behavior, harms the feelings of others such as passers-by and other motorists, and this uncivilized behavior contributes in the accumulation of dirt and filth that lead to the spread of diseases and distortion of city view. 2. Throw of tissue papers or trash out of the car. There are those who throw tissue papers or trash such as cans, fast food, wastes from car window while driving. So always purchase a small bag for wastes, because this behavior is inconsistent with the most basic teachings and customs and contrary to efforts and capabilities provided by the state to progress in all fields, especially tourism. Therefore, keep wastes in your car until reaching to the nearest waste basket to maintain a clear environment free of diseases. 3. Handicaps. The state secured the rights of handicaps and their involvement in public life through the enactment of appropriate laws and legislations. However, there are some irresponsible behaviors from the individuals that underestimate the exerted efforts. We see persons breach the simplest rights of handicaps, which are their car parking in ministries, government institutions, public and tourist places, markets and airports. 4. Violation of red traffic light. Violation of red traffic light is one of the most traffic accidents that lead to financial, material, health or mental damages, and it is considered a crime of attempt murder. Your continued behavior in failure to commit with a traffic light is considered a behavior that harmed the society of its danger and bad results. 5. Failure to move the vehicle from accident location. Failure to move the vehicle from accident location may lead to the occurrence of a serious accident, leads to deaths and obstruction of traffic motion, especially if there are no injuries. Move the vehicle to a safe place at the side of the road and wait the arrival of police. Failure to move the vehicle by the driver to the nearest service parking in case of occurrence of an accident or non-occurrence of injuries, with the possibility to move the vehicle, is considered a violation punishable by the law. 6. Pedestrians. Be ready for the appearance of pedestrians on the road at any time. Reduce speed at residential areas and densely populated areas, and pay attention always to pedestrians and bicyclists. Failure to respect pedestrians crossing is a wrong behavior, leads to hit pedestrians and subjects you to a traffic violation. Vehicle drivers have to reduce speed of their vehicles when approaching pedestrians crossing, populated areas, turns, curves, crossroads, intersections, roundabouts, bridges, tunnels, or when entering squares, approaching schools or hospitals to make sure of road safety. 7. Parking on sidewalks. Parking on sidewalks is uncivilized behavior, violating the law, and subjects other road users to risk. Sidewalk is a right for pedestrians to walk safely and not for vehicles parking. Sidewalks found for pedestrians. 8. Right overtaking. Overtaking at right of vehicles from service road or overtaking at intersections, roundabouts, traffic lights or enter again to the road is considered a wrong behavior, leads to occurrence of accidents and obstruction of traffic motion. In addition, it is a behavior that leads to breach rights of others. 9. U-turning to the opposite direction. Moving of the vehicle driver out of vehicle's lane in which he moves by changing his direction, heading a side road or entering a place beside the road, exiting, turning or returning back without taking the necessary actions is considered a traffic violation. U-turning at the places separated by a central island on highways is considered a wrong behavior, lead to serious accidents. 10. Slow driving. Slow driving and failure to commit with the speed limits on highways is considered a wrong behavior, leads to traffic accidents. In addition, obstruction of traffic motion and the increase of delay time of other road users. 11. Using the mobile phone and sending messages. Using the mobile phone while driving and a distraction for seconds may lead to a traffic accident. Driving the vehicle and using the mobile cannot come together because of the caused distraction to driver attention and the inability to remain in the lane or move at suitable speeds. Also, using mobile while driving is a wrong behavior punished by the law by a traffic violation. (12) Sitting of children under 10 in the front seats. Seating children in the front seat is a violation to traffic law because it constitutes risk and subjects them to injury and death sometimes by jumping from the seats out of the vehicle or pushing the child forward and collide with the internal parts. And sometimes he is subjected to throttling by the belt because of his young age. 13. Failure to wear helmet while driving the motorcycle. Traffic law in Qatar stipulates the need to wear head protective helmet by the driver and the passenger of suitable size. It must be worn firmly in a way that prevents it sliding from the head and the strap tied around chin properly. Make sure that your helmet meets all safety standards before purchasing. Replace fallen, scratched or damaged helmet in any accident. Use water and soap only in cleaning your helmet. 14. Inconvenience of road users. Some youth used to increase volume of car radios, especially at traffic lights or while driving in public market streets. This is an uncivilized behavior that disturbs other people. You have the right to listen to what you wish of music and different broadcast programs, but in appropriate way and at a low volume. 15. It is prohibited to stop on the yellow box. Do not enter to the area of traffic intersection in case of stop of traffic motion, because of traffic jam in the direction you want to go, because entering to the area of intersection will cause blocking of the intersection and obstruct the road to others. 16. Failure to give way to vehicles that want to overtake your vehicle from the left side. In case of driving on a highway at the speed limit allowed to this road, this does not mean to keep driving at the left lane of the road and do not allow vehicles that want to overtake your vehicle to complete overtaking process. You cannot commit others with maximum speed limit of the road. There is someone else doing this job. Remember that there are other road users who have rights and they have the right to not be obstructed. There are vehicles carrying persons in serious conditions. Do not be a stumbling block to save their lives.